This is it. We're at 311. We're starting episode 308 of No Laugh Track Podcast. This is a Wednesday, a little early this week because there was a big thing here at Acme last night, the Funniest Person contest. I have the headliner here and the winner of the contest, Bryan Miller.
I did not win the contest. It was we have the headliner, comma, and the winner of the contest, not the headliner and the winner of the contest. It'd be weird if I won the contest.
It happens that fast. No.
I'm on a rocket ship to the moon.
I will say, this is the first time that I've ever had a guest on that I had to look up his last name in a Star Tribune article about him. I didn't know Aidan McCluskey. I didn't know your last name.
Oh, no?
But did any of us?
I don't know.
I did from last night.
All right.
We'll look up a Star Tribune article about what?
About winning the contest.
From last night.
Yeah.
Oh, did Neil Justin write a thing up? Probably.
I can't
Oh,
remember.
you got to learn these names. You got to know what bread to butter. No, Neil's a great dude.
Exactly.
And I think Patrick Strait probably did one for City Pages.
He certainly did one that was
I
even
did
more
that one.
detail.
Yep, that was the one I shared on Facebook. I'm not much of a Facebook guy, but that was one that I decided I would share.
Nice.
Right on. So I want to set the scene here. I've been doing this podcast. This is episode 308, and I've never had the contest winner on the day after the show. Cool. So this is a new thing. I'm hoping to do this as long as I keep doing the show. I want to keep doing this. So as a little bonus. So congrats, man.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
I don't know. I have a lot of questions about the young man. How about you, Bryan?
Not really, but I'll follow suit. I'm here about me, but I'll be okay if you talk to him a little bit. That's kind of where I'm standing on this.
First of all, for some perspective, I think Bryan mentioned last night that you did the contest years
Yeah, I did the contest
ago.
in 2000. So, it's crazy. So today is the exact 10-year anniversary of the first time I did stand-up at Grumpy's downtown. And so then I probably would have done Acme 2 or 3 weeks after that.
Okay.
For the first time. And then I did the contest the next year, which would have been 2009.
Yeah.
So, I got 4th place in the contest in 2009, and then I just didn't do it the next year, but I don't think I've been hired here yet. I just didn't do it because I'd already been paid to do some other stuff. Mm-hmm. And then got hired that year because Chris Knutson won it the year after me, and Abshire got 2nd place, and then Abshire and I both got hired with Trevor.
Yeah. Who was working last night as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Aidan.
Yeah.
When did you start comedy? You just won a contest and $1,000, man.
Yeah. I started comedy it was February 23rd I started comedy.
Wow, I thought you were going to say February and then a year.
No.
Wow, so 6 months basically?
Yeah, about.
Wow.
Yeah.
What in the world?
What made you, what was the impetus for starting?
Really what had started it was I had looked up to comedians growing up, but never really gave a whole lot of thought of actually performing myself until I started college and realized that I absolutely hate participating in the real world. So I thought maybe...
It's a great reason.
Yeah.
Wow. It took you how much college did you attend?
I went for a year and both unsuccessfully, wasted $2,000 because I failed all of my classes.
Well, you just earned half of it back.
Yeah, sweet.
There you go. Be sure and tell your parents that right away, that you just earned half of it back.
Don't tell them, they'll take it.
Actually, they have no idea.
What do you mean they have no idea?
I pulled it off. I was like,
Wait, which part?
Failing and everything. I got away with it entirely.
Oh, well, nicely done. Did they know you won the contest?
Yep, now they do.
Okay, but they weren't here last night.
No.
Did you bring a lot of people last night?
No, I didn't bring...
I love that.
Yeah, I didn't bring...
I do, really.
Yeah.
...anybody with me because I had heard from the beginning, it's if you bring people, you're going to win because they're all laughing, they're in your corner. I was like, that's not fair. So I wanted to do it my way, not bring anybody and win independently so that I can say that I did it all by myself.
Justin, they call that big dick energy.
Holy shit, this guy. What the fuck?
But it is true. And some contests are more stuff the ballot box a little bit. If the audience response is weighed heavier, it's a factor in this one, but it's not...
Yeah, I don't know if you saw how us judges grade you, but one of them is audience reaction, right?
Yep.
Audience reaction, and I don't remember his name. It doesn't probably really matter. But there was a guy in the contest last night that clearly had the most crowd support. Like,
Yep. He was also funny.
Oh, yeah.
People knew.
He was also funny.
Yeah. Everybody was good, but you could tell somebody had. There were some people had a few more people in
And
the
that's
audience.
every contest. Mm-hmm. They say 5 names, and there's always like 2 names. It's like you can always tell when like the person at a graduation, it's the first person from a family to graduate high school. Because people just lose their damn minds, and you're like, oh man, people are really excited. And like the 5th sibling of a Catholic family, and they're all in college. It's like polite clapping. Nobody cares about that kid.
Now, Aidan, I looked at one of the articles about you today. These fresh articles about you winning, and actually, I got your phone number last night, and you gave me the area code. I'm like, where? What?
Yeah.
Not 651 or 612. It was. You're a Wisconsin guy, right?
Yeah, I'm from a really small town in Wisconsin. It's called Galesville. There's about 1,400 people in it. The closest city I'm to is La Crosse. I'm about 30 miles away from there.
Okay.
So it was quite a drive to get here.
So you're still living there?
Yeah, I live with my parents. Actually, in their basement, so the epitome of...
Well, when you're 19, then it's okay.
Yeah.
Or 20, what are you, 19, 20?
19.
19, yeah. It's okay. Living in your parents' basement is not quite the stain on your character that it is at 29.
Don't worry about that, man. You
Yeah.
just won a comedy contest. You're
Yeah.
doing well. So how far of a drive is that from there to here?
Last night with the rain, it took me a little over 3 hours. But
What in the hell?
Love that dedication.
So you must be staying with a friend or something locally? Did you sleep in your car? How are you here right now? You didn't drive another 3 hours to come back
No,
here.
I got a hotel room last night. I figured if I won, I got the money for it now. So
Oh, I love
Wait
it.
a minute.
Yeah.
So there was a chance you were just going to head home last night?
yeah.
Oh, sure. I think that's a smart way to play it. Yeah.
Look at
So-
that.
But then if you win, why not?
Exactly.
Treat yourself.
Yeah, I did.
Did you get any like hookers or booze or anything fun?
I smoked weed by myself. And
Yeah, man, we're gonna get along. You might.
Yeah.
How old are you? How old am I? I mean, you might be my child. Dude, it's very possible.
Do you need-
could be. Damn.
Do you need me or Bryan to buy you some alcohol after the...
Hey, Justin's
That would
being
be
recorded.
great, yeah.
I think you're committing to it. I'm only encouraging him to commit illegal acts by himself. I am not soliciting or participating in any such acts. This is all satire.
Exactly. Don't take any of this seriously at all. Wow. That's so awesome. So you've blown all of the one? You spent all the 1,000 already? Is that
No,
what you want
not
to tell
yet.
us?
I spent about 300 of it last night. So
Had a good night, yeah?
yeah, I
That is
did.
so awesome.
Yep. I got up to my hotel room, got pretty stoned, ordered a pizza, and I don't think they like it when pizza men walk into the lobby of an upscale hotel. But
Even better.
yeah,
Good for you.
thanks.
Good for you.
So you basically had the Macaulay Culkin Lost in New York Home Alone 2 dream last night.
Exactly, Yeah.
Look at that's a great analogy.
I'm a professional analogizer.
Yes, you are. That's very good. Does the celebration to continue when you head back home then, or?
Oh, probably.
Yeah?
Probably use the rest of that money on more of it and get some friends together. So
Get stoned in your parents' basement.
So
yeah, pretty much.
So I'm curious. Now, Bryan's not from Minnesota originally either. Did you invite people? Like, I mean, sure, there was no family here when you were in the finals
My
of the
in-laws
contest.
live here.
Yeah.
I know my in-laws definitely came to the finals. They probably came to all of them, but they definitely came to the finals. My wife, that's probably about it. And now, at the course of the time, I was brand new, and so all the open micers that you're friends with, everybody came out.
Yeah.
So, all my friends were here, too, but they were also friends with all the other contestants.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I didn't win, so it wasn't a big concern.
I was just thinking then, like, for you, I mean, even if you wanted to invite a lot of people, do you have a lot of friends locally here?
Oh, no.
No?
I mean, there's some that I've met going through Rochester's open mic.
Okay.
But even that felt wrong to me, inviting more people, and because I figure the audience reaction, if they're strangers, it feels better to know that you've accomplished something and not...
I like it.
Yeah.
And it is true, and that's such a, like, you can feel by the guy who brought people, he was funny, so, like, they didn't have to pity laugh. That guy was actually funny.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
But
yeah,
I've
yeah.
been in contests where you can feel you can feel some of the audience like trying to laugh at their friend and like just really like leaning into it because they're just like, yeah, come on, Ted. You seem so funny at the office, Ted. You know, and there's like 30 people. Like, I always recommend to people to just generally don't bring people. When you start comedy, treat it like a shameful secret. Hide it from everybody. Just do it for a while, because if you bring people out early on and then they'll see you, and then, you know, you're never as good at the beginning as you get, and then so then they had that image of you in their head, and then you try to get them to come out like, I'm doing a half hour, and they're like, oh, girl, a half hour, Jesus. And you're like, no, it's different now, you know.
So besides coming here on you come here on Mondays for open mic?
When I can. I mean, it's hard to know because it's not a definitive answer whether or not you get on, but you have to be here. So it's hard for me to commit to driving 3 hours to not go on. You know what I mean?
Well, do you see the answer is move to the Twin Cities?
That's what everybody's told me.
Yeah.
You really should. Really, you should move to the Twin
How many times have you been told that in the last 24 hours?
In the last 24 hours, 3 times.
Yeah.
including the pizza guy.
Do you think that's something you'll do, or are you just going to go straight to New York, Los Angeles?
Oh, I'd be eaten alive. Probably would like to move here because I've got some family that lives up here, so it would make it easier surviving on my own in that way. But
you can get a job and a comedy roommate easy. There's always houses. There's just a bunch of dirtbag comics, and there's always people going in and out. Somebody gets a girlfriend or a boyfriend, or them, you know, whatever. So there's always a place you can get a room for a few $100. But there's a lot of stage time to be had in the Twin Cities.
So yeah, I'm curious about that. So living in 3 hours from here in Wisconsin, 30 minutes north of La Crosse, where's your stage time?
I usually have to drive about an hour and a half to Rochester to get on stage.
Okay.
How far is Madison from you?
2.5.
Okay, Madison's great too.
Is it?
Oh yeah, that club in Madison is incredible.
I've heard that before.
Yeah, it's probably my second favorite club after this one. It's fantastic. It's really well run, great audiences. You should definitely do that. But I think it'd be better to move here just because there's so much more total stage time in Minneapolis and St. Paul than there is in Madison. But Madison's a pretty surprisingly good comedy town for a fairly small town. Nick Hart was just on Conan. Jeff Asmus is doing real well. Brian Morris is real funny.
What
Stacy Kulo.
So with having you two in front of me here, somebody who's been in comedy for
10 years.
10 years. Yeah,
I can officially say 10 years.
Yeah, almost to the day or to the day. Yeah, and 6 months. Did anybody pull you aside when you were 5-6 months in? Give you any advice?
Oh yeah, definitely. Lots of people. Very helpful.
What was the good advice you got?
I mean, mostly, a lot of the best advice you get is kind of generic, but it's because it's just true. Like, you should be getting up at every mic you can. You should go up X number of times a night. You should, probably some of the better advice I got from some other Acme. I didn't work at Acme at the time, but like Eric Allen and Tommy Ryman and those guys was like, work a lot of places, but always keep in mind where you want to work. Like, you can get a lot of road gigs earlier on, but then you can start writing for those like one-nighter bar audiences, and you can start writing yourself into kind of a dumber corner. They're like, you can still do that stuff, but don't do it too much, don't do it too early, and always remember, keep in mind who do you want to be telling comedy for. Not like, I only want to tell comedy for 30-year-old white males like myself. not like that, but like, do you want to be the dick joke guy, or do you want to do something interesting? Do you want to be more like, whoever is your hero, Bill Burr, John Mulaney, Maria Bamford, and it's like, well, Maria Bamford didn't get that way by just writing all the dick jokes she could to suffer through some bar gigs.
Yeah. She
had to go into good places and get in front of good crowds.
Yeah.
So that was a good advice, was to not kind of take some of the early money. It's all there. It'll all be there for you.
Sure. Are you paying attention, Aidan?
Yeah.
And you can get good. When you get good, then you can go do those road rooms, and you can probably make it work anyway with your regular act because you're good now.
Yeah.
But when you're new, and it's like you could choose the path, and you start choosing that easy path, you're like, oh man, they really like it when I talk about dicks, and they really like it when I talk about millennials being lazy or whatever. Pick your kind of hacky, easy topic. Some of the stuff that'll get a pop laugh on the road.
Yeah.
But it's it's a Faustian bargain,
Whoa.
as they say.
Yeah.
In the Faust business.
Yeah. Did what was I going to ask here? Oh, so you turned 20 this year?
I will. Yeah.
You will.
I'll turn 20 in December. So
I looked up 1998.
Yep.
You were born.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah, you could definitely be my kid.
Yeah. I looked back at some of the things that happened in 1998, Bryan.
You don't know a girl named Aaron, do you? Is your mom named Aaron? Because I'd have to disqualify my judging from last night. That's my boy. I'm rooting for my boy.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's be honest. I do have people my age, people are graduated from high school that have kids older than you.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I've friends with kids a little older than you. But I'm also friends with people about your age too. So.
Sweet.
Ben, you wouldn't be the youngest comic in Minneapolis. I think the youngest comic that I can think of is this kid Ben Rosenberg. He's been coming to my open mic on Tuesdays. I think he's 15. He can't even drive himself. His mom has to drive him.
Damn.
Yeah. He's real young.
Yeah.
So compared to him, you're ancient.
Yeah.
You look like ZZ Top.
Talk about that, Bryan. About you run an open mic.
Yeah, I run an open mic every Tuesday at Eric the Red, right downtown by the stadium there. It's called Red Menace. It's funny. So we just needed a name, and so I thought Red Menace would be fun. And so all the posters, everything's communist themed, like 50s communist Red Scare stuff.
Yeah.
But the kind of the running gag is that we are the state, and the I'm the dictator or whatever. And somebody was telling Corey Adam, and Corey won't tell me who this was, so I must know them. They were like, "Man, Miller's really going off the deep end. What's up with that guy?" And Corey's like, "What are you talking about?" It's like, he's running that communist thing, and you have to be a communist to do it. And he's like, and Corey's like, "It's a joke, you dumb shit." Oh it's just an open mic. It's a regular open mic.
Oh my god.
So no, it is not a communist open mic. Although everybody gets the same amount of time, so maybe it is.
Hey.
And all the money goes to me. So yeah, it is a communist open mic. I'm the Putin of the open mic.
Wait a second. Do you perform shirtless? Putin,
I might have to start.
Shirtless on a horse.
I don't know. We're gonna have to get clearance for the horse. It's not that tall of a room, you know. We'll have to do it outside.
Say it's a support animal.
Ooh, my emotional support horse. Maybe I can get one of the Sandstorm ponies.
There you go.
Yeah. Bob's got a lot of spare ponies laying around.
I said this a few months ago on the podcast that my job, at US Bank Stadium, we had to do a little rehire thing. They handed us this booklet, and it had all the policies of the stadium, including their support animal policy. They allow dogs and small ponies. So you could show up to a Vikings game with a small pony.
Like a Shetland pony, I assume?
I mean, I don't know exactly what a small pony is, but...
Wow.
Yeah. Small pony.
What about birds? Can I have an emotional support bird? My emotional support fish, like in What About Bob, around my neck? The first emotional support animal. Gil. The Bill Murray movie.
Oh,
Richard
yeah.
Dreyfuss, he has Gil, and he talks to Gil.
Yes.
He invented the emotional support animal.
You're right.
No one remembers
Aidan,
that.
do you know the movie What About Bob?
I don't.
Of course not.
You were not alive when it was made. You should watch it, though. It's a great movie. Bill Murray, he won't leave his psychiatrist alone at his vacation home. It's very funny.
Do you know who Bill Murray is?
I do know
Yeah.
who Bill Murray is.
You do know Bill Murray.
He's a man of the world, Justin.
Okay. I looked up some things that happened in 1998, the year our guy Aidan was born. Phil Hartman, dead.
Oh, tragic.
Yeah.
Still one of the big comedy losses, I think.
Do you know who Phil Hartman is, Aidan?
Rings a bell, but I don't know.
Rings a bell?
Yeah.
There's a prize involved in this. There's
He already won a prize. You don't need more prizes. He's just going to blow it on hotels and pizza.
and weed, possibly. Although that's not blowing it, right?
Well, it literally is, kind of.
Hey-o. Hey-yo. The last episode of Seinfeld was 1998.
Okay. I watched
sounds about right.
Seinfeld, yeah.
Are you a fan?
Oh, yeah.
I find a lot of younger comics really don't like Seinfeld, and I think it's because it was. I think it's because it was the standard of comedy. It was the big show. It was like the show that a lot of people's parents watched, and so nobody wants to like the show their parents like.
Yeah.
There's, I think a lot of knee jerk that show sucks because my parents always told me it was so funny.
It started off that way for me, but then I saw the Soup Nazi. And that was my favorite episode by
I
far.
love that show. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
Who have you seen perform comedy live, Aidan? Have you gone to some shows?
Yeah, I've seen quite a few people because, like I said, I grew up watching it. And I recently, last year or 2 years ago, went to see Mark Maron in Madison. And then I saw Jim Norton perform. And, who else?
Cy Amundsen.
I did see Cy Amundsen. Yeah, now there's those.
He'll be mad if I don't plug him. I know you were there.
Oh, that's right. Mark Maron, by the way, who will be at this club tomorrow night through Saturday.
Tickets not available.
Tickets not available.
Ironically, for a guy whose album recorded here was called Tickets Still Available.
That's right.
No longer tickets available for Mark Maron.
One more night to see Bryan headline here, though.
Tickets still available. Not that many, though.
Good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, it's Insider Night, but, we'll call it the Bryan effect.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
They heard about all my analogies. They came running.
Oh, you know what? Speaking of that, let's mention quickly about that Insider thing. For people who haven't signed up for that, that's how you get free tickets to shows.
Oh, yeah.
Not a lot, not every show, but once a month maybe.
Once a month, you can go to Insider. You can sign up for the Insider Night. Wednesday. A lot of times they'll add a bonus Insider Night here or there. And then I believe with the birthday, I haven't done all this since I was an MC and used to have to reel all this off.
Yeah.
I think with the birthday club, you get free tickets to any show the month of your birthday.
Yeah.
That's a pretty sweet deal.
For giving the club your email address. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would. If I didn't work here, I would 100% be a member of the Insider thing. I mean, I don't really need to. I can just come here.
Right.
But I would. Yeah, it's the best deal in town.
For sure. Aidan, if let's say a spot opened up and they're like, hey, you can do 15 minutes here tonight at Acme, would you be able to do 15 minutes?
Not unless I was able to talk about my dick.
Well, luckily that's not off the table, but that's a good answer. That's a good answer.
You know what that reminds me of, Bryan? The last time when you did Crash and Burn and had the
the emergency backup dick jokes.
Yeah.
Emily did not like that. I think Emily thought that was cheating. Yeah, I think she did not like the backup dick joke thing, which I didn't do over the weekend. And also, as I recall, I think they were pretty good dick jokes.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I want to take you to task on your Minnesota State Fair comments, Bryan.
Oh, yeah. That was unpopular.
Good. I'm going to say this. As someone, me, born and raised in Minnesota, I have the ultimate perspective on the Minnesota State Fair. You, as a mover-inner,
I would argue quite the opposite. I would argue you have no perspective. That's all tied up in childhood nostalgia, whereas I can see the fair clearly for what it is. As a happily transplanted Minnesotan, but one not moored to the traditions from a really young age.
You're actually right.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this on the way over here. I don't like the long lines. I don't like how prices have gone up for food, for admission. I don't like any of that stuff. However, there's not a year where I won't go.
And that's fair. And I'm not one of those people who, like, no pun intended, fair. I'm not one of those people who, like, I'm glad other people like it. Go. Everyone go. Have fun. I'm just not going to be there with you.
They set an attendance record again this year.
Despite
over 2
my
million people.
Personal boycott.
Despite your tweet.
Despite my tweet, which got like 30 likes. Actually, it was like 40. But I don't enjoy it. My new rule is I won't go to the fair unless I'm paid to do so.
You just beat me to my question. I was going to say, what happens if you get offered the grandstand gig? Yeah,
I'll go. I would never go to any casino under any circumstance unless you pay me to do a comedy show there. I'll show right up.
Fair enough.
But if you're not paying me, I ain't going.
Minnesota State Fair ever been, Aidan?
I have. My girlfriend and I considered going this year, but it's just not something we got around. I woke up too hungover that day, and turned out it was the end of the fair, so...
There you go.
Should we do a 23andMe? Or?
I was going to say, you're living a rough life over here, man. Like an aged rock star.
I'm assuming this is your first podcast ever? No?
Yeah.
Yes? Good. Good.
Do I have the record for most no laugh tracks?
I don't think so. I think we're super close, though.
Who would be number...
I think Slagle might be ahead of you.
Oh, because he does Crash and Burn and his own week.
Yep. Did you just hear, a week, 2 weeks?
Yeah, I didn't get to see him.
2 weeks ago.
I was out of town.
Added another one 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, damn, it is Slagle. I'm sure of it.
I think so. I think it's Slagle.
I'll get him. I'm just going to start showing up at random ones just to beat his record.
Well, if we counted the amount of times Cy Amundsen has popped in, just like stuck his head through the curtain here, he would have the...
damn,
he'd have some
really slipping.
He's had some sort of record. Aidan, so... This thing's got to work out, right? Comedy's got to work out. This has got to be it, right?
No pressure.
I mean,
What are you going to fall back on?
Oh,
I'm kidding. You don't have to.
Ooh, that's a tough question. Right now, I don't have a fallback.
No, you don't. You don't need it. Now you're 19, man. You don't need anything to fall back on. Are you doing? But I do. I'm curious. Are you doing? What else are you doing with your time right now besides going to open mics and winning contests?
A lot of the time is just spent doing nothing. like spending a lot of time twiddling my thumbs, or I mean, I'm open to taking classes again, just at the chance this doesn't work out, you know. But
Sure, okay.
that might be the fallback, the 40-year-old guy who goes back to school.
There's a
don't
movie
want-
about that called Back to School that you definitely haven't seen. Yeah, you don't need a fallback. You're fine. You can start college when you're 23. Nobody cares. No.
Yeah, for sure.
Move here, get a job, start doing comedy.
For sure. Do you have
But you won't make any money out for like a year anyway, so just be ready for that.
No, Bryan does tons of comedy, but also has some, part-time, you would say, jobs, right?
Yeah, I sort of consider myself a writer, and comedy is just part of that kind of spectrum.
Sure, there you go.
I mean, not that there's not more to it. There's the whole talking part of it, but
Yeah.
yeah. Because I write jokes for people that I don't tell, you know, football jokes. I write corporate. I just punched up a big corporate speech for a multimillionaire in Atlanta.
What?
Yeah, I do like weird corporate writing stuff. I wrote a Shark Tank pitch for somebody that I can't say what it is until after it airs on Shark Tank, but it's going to be interesting.
A
Yeah.
Shark Tank pitch?
Yeah, you know when people go on Shark Tank and they have to kind of give their spiel about their business?
And someone hired a comedian to do that?
Yeah, they hired me to punch it up.
Get out of here.
Yeah. I write a lot of weird stuff. I wrote that article about the opera singer for the Star Tribune,
How?
which I believe your lady was very complimentary about.
Oh, yeah.
I believe your wife
Yeah.
sent me a very nice message about that.
How are you getting these gigs? I'm asking for Aidan so he can start making money writing for other
Connections
people.
to some people in Atlanta. A guy that I know that has like a corporate writing business and he keeps kind of expanding. There's a lot of weird opportunities out there. My friend Lisa Correo, who's a great comic out of Florida and a really good writer, she's really into astronauts and NASA, like science stuff, you know. And so that kind of got around. She would host these panels at these like conventions and stuff. And so at some point, Lisa NASA commissioned Lisa to do a set to send to the astronauts. So they hired her to write astronaut jokes so astronauts could watch the astronaut jokes.
What?
How cool is that?
That's awesome.
Yeah, so there's a lot of weird things out there. I don't know if I'm technically supposed to reveal that. I don't know. Sorry, Lisa, if I wasn't. I mean, I hope I'm not breaking NASA code or anything. But
I recently listened to an episode of Thought Spiral, the podcast.
Oh,
Andy
Kindler and Weinstein, yeah.
Weinstein, yes. And it was the one that was right after Just for Laughs. Andy did his speech.
Mm-hmm.
Josh helps with a lot of the writing. And he was like being very honest and going, look, I do get a little frustrated when you get these huge laughs or the jokes that I wrote for you are getting the attention and people don't know it's me that wrote it.
never bothers me.
Never bothers you.
Any capacity whatsoever.
At all.
No.
Okay.
It doesn't bother me. I don't know. I don't know. They're just jokes. You just write more.
Okay.
There's always more jokes. That's the only part that... It's not easy, but there's always more jokes. And I would never give somebody something that was like really super personal, for me. Mm-hmm. So that's the stuff I want to talk about. Like with this, I talk about the stuff I really want to talk about on stage, and everything else is just like, it's fodder. It's jokes.
Sure.
Football information goes in, jokes come out, or some corporate guy, he's a real estate broker, so real estate comes in, real estate jokes come out. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I hope they do well.
Now, when do you know when the Shark Tank episode?
I have a range. I've been given a range.
Yep,
Like, I don't think they know what it is.
The next season, obviously.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not. My part of it is super done. I'm not like an ongoing part of the team or whatever.
Right,
I just
right.
Wanted some punch up for their pitch. But I do want to watch it because I think it's going to be kind of funny, and I suggested some weird visual stuff. I want to see if they pick up on.
Oh, I can't wait for you to tell me off the mic what it is.
I will tell you off the mic. I wrote I got the speech for the rich guy that I helped work on. I don't know. I got the impression that he was like maybe not loved by his colleagues, and that maybe he was he was like the richest guy in the business, and he's kind of the villain or whatever. And I got the impression from the notes that he was maybe a little, he was pretty high on himself. So the opening line that I wrote for him, I don't know if he'll use it, but I was pretty happy with this, which is, look, I know a lot of you out there are looking to see me fail, but I also know there's a lot of you out there who are hoping to see me crushed by a falling stage light.
So will you be able to, when this speech is, will you be able to?
Nah.
No, not.
I never see most of it.
You never see it.
It all just goes out. I don't usually I never hear the Bob and Tom segment that I write for. But Kostaki does it as a separate podcast. Quick Snaps, the podcast, the shirt I'm wearing
Yeah,
right now.
yeah.
So I do always listen to the podcast version of it, just because we don't get Bob and Tom here. But I listen to the Quick Snaps podcast, and I always fast forward to see which jokes he tells and how they do.
Okay.
Kind of.
Yeah.
But I'm never like, oh, Kostaki crushed with that one. I'm too mad. I'm always like, oh, sweet. I don't know. To me, it's like you want your joke to do well. Like if somebody else gets a huge laugh with your joke, it means they're good at telling jokes and your joke is good. So it's a compliment.
Yeah,
I don't feel like it's like, that should have been mine. Like, no, you got paid for it, man. Send it away.
Damn right. Aidan, your first night on a stage? How did it happen? First time you ever told jokes on a mic?
Oh, that's a weird story. So, leading up to it, I didn't want to tell anybody, but I've got a friend who he and I have written jokes together, just never performed them or thought that we would or I would. And I was like, hey, I noticed that there's an open mic in Winona. You want to come with me? So I didn't tell any of my family members. I didn't tell my girlfriend. I was like, I actually lied and told her that we're going to go out and probably smoke weed. And she was more okay with that than knowing that I would be out doing comedy.
I'm just going to go have sex with some other girls that you don't know. It's not a big deal.
And
covered it.
Yeah. So I went there and I had a whole set prepared and what I thought memorized. And then as soon as I got up there, I don't remember any of it.
Right. It was just like a blur.
Yep. And it just went so fast. But people were laughing. I don't remember what I said, but...
Okay. Did you record it?
Funny. No.
No.
And I got back and told my girlfriend that I was actually out doing comedy, and then she slapped me and she said, you lied to me. So that was my first time doing comedy.
Wow.
Snap back to reality with that.
Literally, yeah.
How many times do you think you've been on stage in total?
Oh, I was keeping track, but
Sure.
now it's gotten to the point where I go to Goonies open mic in Rochester every Thursday, and then I've done some shows where people have asked me last minute if I would come on, and
So 50?
yeah, probably.
See, I kept track for the first 3 years.
Oh, really?
With a notebook. Yeah. I kept track. And I think I was keeping the numbers up until I was in like the 200s.
Oh.
Like every year.
Yeah.
And then at one point I was just like, okay. I think I stopped keeping track when I was starting to get a lot longer sets. And so I was like doing slightly fewer, but I was doing more stage time. And then I was like, well, I don't know now that like the hash marks are as meaningful. But I think for the first couple of years, every time you can get a chance to literally like... Doing longer sets is cool, but like they say your name, you have to introduce yourself to people, you have to find a way to close and get off. Like then the more times you can just do that, just over and over again. So like every hash mark is like meaningful in that way, just as straight practice. Like some open mics you don't need to go to. I think when you're like 8 or 10 years in, you're like, okay, I'm not gonna get much out of this, But you'll always get something out of every open mic for the first 3 years, even if it's just getting almost bored with it a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it can be a little bit of a good boredom in a way. You stop being quite so uptight.
How many times did you compete over the summer in the Funniest Person? How many times were you up on stage here?
3 total, I think it was.
Including last night? Or 4 including last night?
Oh, there was the first night and then the semifinal. So it's only 3.
So you didn't do the Monday beforehand?
I did
On
the first time I found out I would be on, because I didn't think that this would go much further.
That was
than
my
it
next
did.
question. Well, where was your confidence level in all this?
Pretty low, to be honest. I just kind of figured that I would be out first or second round and not to lose much sleep over it. That it was stage time more than anything. So
That's what I always tell people is like, if you can sign up for the contest, you get some stage time.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like 250 people enter it, so 249 people aren't going to win. There's still value for those other 249 people.
Do you think you made some friends over the run this summer?
Oh, for sure.
In the club here?
Definitely here. But then also the different mics that I've gone to, it's you meet a new person, and they've actually been very welcoming. In the first, before I got into it, I was like, oh, they're not going to like me at all. For whatever reason, I just didn't have much confidence that people would like my comedy.
Okay.
I think people are pretty genuinely nice in this scene. Like, there's a lot of people critique, and there's whatever.
When did the click start, Bryan?
I think it's gotten a lot less cliquish in the last couple of 3 years.
Okay.
It's actually, yeah, I think the newer people are a lot more sort of just cool and open, and I don't see it nearly as much of the cliquishness as I was a few years ago.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think it's a nicer scene. And there's a lot of places you can, like, I put everybody on stage at my open mic. Corey Adam does a really nice job of balancing Sisyphus, and he might have a new mic starting, but when he can, he always puts everybody up. There's a lot of those mics. Chris Maddock puts everybody up at Grumpy's until it ends after tonight.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Grumpy's.
Yeah, I think people are pretty welcoming, and the one that people like hustle. If people see somebody showing up all the time, it almost doesn't even really matter if they're all that funny at the beginning, because you're like, well, maybe they'll get funny, maybe they won't. But you love to see the hustle, and it helps if they're funny.
Yeah.
But I'd rather see somebody who works really hard and they're really enthusiastic and they're like medium funny than the person who starts off with like some clever lines, but they don't really try very hard. I've seen a lot of those people come and go.
Bryan, when should Aidan start his podcast?
Last year. Because the world needs more podcasts.
Do you think Aidan should release a statement on his feelings of Nike and whether he should be boycotting and Colin Kaepernick and all that?
Christ.
The important thing is to get political as soon as possible, as much as possible. Pick sides right away. Firm ground.
That'd be good for his career to pick sides?
Yeah.
Yeah. And have you considered being a political comedian, Aidan?
No, not at all, really. I mean, I'm into politics and following current events, but...
Wow, 19. I couldn't have given two shits about...
It's hip now, Justin.
I guess.
I like the comedians like Doug Stanhope, where they say something relevant, but it's also funny. Because I've noticed that a lot of political comedians say meaningful things, but don't have a big punch behind it. So,
Or even like I think what Stanhope does so well is like people think of political comedy like you got to talk about Trump and Jeff Sessions and all the buzzwords. People think of it almost like a news monologue. But Stanhope is talking about the issues that politics are about. But he never contextualizes it in like an electoral kind of framework, which I think is sort of gets kind of boring. But you look, he's talking about gun control, he's talking about school violence, he's talking about all these things. That's why I think he's a great political comedian. But he doesn't frame it in the horse race MSNBC versus Fox thing, which I think is just an unhelpful framework in general. So like most of the best comedians, I think. Now, Emily Galati does really political comedy that I love. But she has great punchlines.
Yeah.
And a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I think without that, it starts to feel like a lecture.
Yeah, no doubt. How about on the drive over here, I was flipping through my satellite radio stations, and on one of the comedy ones, they were doing, what's his name? Jeff Dunham.
oh god,
a ventriloquist on the radio.
That's my point.
Is there a more useless thing?
That's my point.
Might as well do David Copperfield. It's like, and he's just made the Statue of Liberty disappear. You're like, oh, that's amazing. I'm totally enthralled.
I left it on too. I was like, all right, I want to. Please make me laugh. I don't think that I'm not a fan of his act. Like when it's
you don't like racist puppets?
Exactly, and it was the what is it? Jose Jalapeno or something, Pepe Jalapeno or something like that, and he just kept going on a steak. I'm like, it's not.
Oh,
it's not working.
I had a friend of mine had a parent pass away a few years ago, and I drove down to stay with him and his family for a couple of days till I tried to be supportive. And I came in the house, and they were all sitting around. Of course, this parent had just died. Everyone's all happy, and they're trying to like perk their spirits back up, and they're watching like 3 Jeff Dunham DVDs in a row. And one of the hardest moments of my life was just sitting there and just like, you know what? This is not the time to critique comedy. This is not the time to judge people's comedy tastes. These are people that I really care about. I want to be here for their family. But it was hard. Like it would have been slightly more difficult if it was like a DVD of my parents having sex and they were all sitting around watching it. The only thing it would have been harder to watch. If Jeff Dunham was doing ventriloquism about that would be actually the ultimate.
Where's his hand?
Yeah, I got the suicide bomber skeleton doing play-by-play of my parents having sex with Jeff Dunham. That would be worse.
I wasn't there, but something like that happened to a friend of mine when we were in high school. Parents were out of town. He was throwing a party.
Oh no!
Somebody was like, "Hey, what do you think's on this VHS tape?"
Oh no!
Aidan, VHS tapes were somebody popped in the tape and it was mom and dad going at it.
Oh, that's the nightmare.
Oh, and I'm not kidding. Yeah, I'm not kidding.
And his friends wouldn't let him stop the video.
Get your hands away from there.
Oh, they'd hold him down.
And they did. Yeah.
Oh my God. That is worse. That is the worst case scenario. I mean, you just have to kill yourself. Maybe you have to kill your parents first. I'm not sure about the order. Oh God, that is horrible.
I wish he was a comedian and I could get him on here to tell that story from his perspective. But
I assume he's in some sort of institution now.
yeah, unfortunately, he's locked up and we don't have access.
Yeah.
No, I don't. He's still around, but
Nobody bounces back from that 100%.
but of course, then after that, every time we were all over there.
Well, no,
everybody. Where's the tape? Where's the tape?
Oh, God, that's so bad. Oh my God. I got the shivers from that. That's terrible.
Yeah. Even though I didn't see the tape, just the knowing that and then seeing his parents, the next time seeing them, it's like,
God.
yeah.
I wonder if they ever found out.
That it was viewed by others.
Yeah.
What if they left it out on purpose?
Oh, maybe that's their thing.
Aidan, this is the ultimate test for you. Who is your favorite football team?
Oh, Jesus. I don't watch a whole lot of football. I might as well just say the Broncos because they're on your hat.
See? Good PR.
Wow, good job. Good job. You could have. The correct answer was Vikings, but Broncos is.
You're throwing them off with a hat.
I know. Vikings is a very acceptable answer. I just needed to know to test your, Packer fandom.
Oh, no.
Most comedians don't watch a lot of sports. Some do. I mean, Cy, me and John Conroy, we text a lot during football games.
Yeah.
But, yeah, most comedians are not into the sporting.
You know what a lot of comedians do? Go to therapy.
I literally was at my shrink's office 2 hours ago.
That's why I'm saying that.
Yeah.
I used to. I don't anymore. I didn't think it was helping that much.
You've
Oh, you
always
should go to my lady. She'll set you
you've already moved on
I have.
at 19.
Yeah. Now he's, I don't think he was a real therapist, to be honest.
Wait
Because
a
now he
minute.
moved into sound therapy, and he wears a robe, and he bangs around on pots and stuff.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What is that?
So I don't think he was ever a real therapist at any point.
How did you pay him when you went? Did someone actually pay
That
this
was
guy?
Up to my mom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, when you're in the basement, they're footing the therapy bill for sure.
Where did mom find this guy?
It was actually referred by the doctor,
There's a lot of crackpots out there.
but
You got to go to Jennifer Rademacher. She'll set you straight. She's good.
Look at you.
Oh, yeah. I advertise for her all the time. She's like, you probably shouldn't do that. Patient-client confidential. I'm like, I don't care, doc. Get
Oh,
some
you
more
really do?
clients.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
she's great. No, everybody should go to Jennifer Rademacher. Then you should eat at Vos Vietnamese. I always promote Vos Vietnamese. Great restaurant, 35th and Lindale.
Okay.
I'm trying to think what else I like to promote. I used to promote the bookstore I worked at briefly, but then I worked there, and they don't like me anymore, so I don't think I should do that.
Okay.
But they're nice people.
I know a thing that you promote, but negatively, and that's a realtor that works for Remax.
Oh, but yeah. I'm still, yeah. Let's not use names. Yeah. She really screwed me over. Much worse than I even say in the joke. I leave out in the joke that my wife had cancer at the time and was like in a hospital bed that I had made for her in our living room, and this lady was
Showing people your
showing
house.
people the house
Oh,
around
my
my
God.
wife's radiation zapped body.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
God.
So
I mean, I really probably ruined this woman's career, so I think it.
yeah, I don't know if you caught it last night, but Bryan has been saying this woman's name in his act for.
Only for satire purposes, and I don't say the real name, right, Justin?
Yeah.
I don't think her Yelp page has been affected, right, Justin?
Yeah. I don't think she's selling a house a half a block from my ex-wife.
Really?
And every time I drive by, I make a joke to my kids like, hey, I should buy that house and live a half a block away, right? Yeah.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
I think they had a restraining order out against me at one point. So, yeah.
So now my kids know that name.
Oh, that's great.
That has meaning to my children.
That's great.
Uh-huh.
Well, I hope I'm a constant pox upon that woman's life. I hope every day she wakes up and thinks, I should have just been nice to that one guy. He has so much time on his hands.
Yeah. Let's do a little. Let's see. We've been here a little bit. Let's do a little bit more here. The biggest story that I saw, besides in the last couple of days, if I'm relying on Twitter, besides Nike, it would be the shaming of Jeffrey. I can't think of his name. The guy who was on.
Oh, yeah. Elvin from The Cosby Show.
Yeah.
Not Jeffrey Jones. That's the guy from Beetlejuice. But yeah, my pal Bill Corbett went to college with that guy, Jeffrey Owens, I think.
Jeffrey Owens.
Yeah.
Yes, Jeffrey
Who I loved
Owens.
on Cosby.
Uh-huh.
By the way, I remember when the whole Cosby thing happened, thinking about, obviously, this is not the number one concern, obviously. But down the list of concerns, after you've hit the obvious, all the victimization, all the horrible shit that he did, some people who got screwed out of that like third hand were people like Jeffrey Owens who were getting residual checks off all those shows that dried up. But like,
because they yanked him immediately.
Yeah, Cosby don't need no residual checks.
No.
And Felicia Rashad's doing fine or whatever.
Yeah.
But those like second tier cast members, like whoever the guy was that played Denise's husband who was in the Navy, like there was a lot of people on that show who were probably getting mailbox money off that show for a long time, and they didn't do nothing wrong.
Right.
They're just regular actors, and you've got to think at that point, like, well, we're going to keep getting this money forever.
Yeah.
You know, it's the most famous sitcom from a whole decade, and then all of a
Absolutely.
sudden it vanishes without a trace, understandably and rightly. Mm-hmm. But it does wind up also, like I said, very second, third hand, hurting people, you know, like this Jeffrey Owens guy is just a hardworking actor.
Yeah, sure.
You know?
It's not unlike, Roseanne opening her mouth and screwing a bunch of people
But
over.
she was screwing over Johnny Galecki, who was already making Sarah Gilbert. I mean, it's true. It is true. But like,
Not all of them, though.
Yeah, I don't worry about the main cast members. But yeah, those people, those lower down on the rungs, that's, if you're on a big sitcom like that, you're back in the day, you're counting on that to keep money flowing for a long time.
Yeah. And so I'm curious, when you first saw that story posted, whenever you saw it for the first time, what was your reaction? If somebody posting a picture of a guy who was famous on a famous TV show, now working at Trader Joe's.
My first thought was it's funny that we would like demonize this guy or and try to shame him in any way where it's like most actors wind up working at Trader Joe's. The difference is they're not on a show in between. Mm-hmm. Most comedians, literally, the vast majority of them wind up, being a realtor, an ad guy, whatever, and they never get the thing. Mm-hmm. So if you get the thing and you have the thing for a while, and then you have to go back to a slightly more sort of normal life, you're still a winner, right? You still had all those years where you didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
And now you're doing it a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I just thought it was funny, like, who cares, And then the other funny thing is, by the way, look up the guy's IMDb resume.
He's worked.
Recently,
Yeah.
a lot. He's in a lot of very prominent shows, but New York is incredibly expensive. And so he probably can't just think like, well, my Law & Order SVU check will be enough to get me through the year.
Right.
Because he's still he has an acting resume, even in the last 10 years, that most people would be fairly happy with.
Oh, yeah. I saw one of the, Divorce, a show that's currently on.
Oh, yeah, he's in a
an
bunch
episode
of
that.
shows.
Yeah.
And he will probably have a little renaissance out of this.
Well, did you see that Tyler Perry offered him a
Yeah.
role? Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw somebody was it Sam Morril or somebody made a joke, was pretending they were him, like, saw the script, gonna pass.
That's very funny. But no, I mean, I hope he does have a little renaissance out of that because, he's a working actor. He's never stopped working. Mm-hmm. And people have ebbs and flows. People have, there's certain people that you think of like John Travolta, huge star now. He's come back like 3 times.
Yeah.
But there was a period where it was like he was a joke. He was in like Look Who's Talking 5 straight to VHS. Mm-hmm. He was about a day and a half away from working at Trader Joe's.
Yeah, really.
And if Gabe Kaplan screws up his sweat hog money, if Gabe Kaplan pinches a couple of secretaries and he stops getting that Welcome Back Kotter money, now he's at Trader Joe's, but then boom, he's in Pulp Fiction and now he's this big guy.
Yeah,
so
completely.
The nature of most famous people's careers is to have some pretty low lows.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at the scope of Jeffrey Owens's career by the end, he had a little not that low probably.
Right. Do you know? Have you ever watched The Cosby Show? Do you even know? No.
You literally can't now.
Yeah.
No, I mean it's like literally it would be like trying to find like an old Tracy Lords porn from when she was like underage or something. You're like, no, we don't sell those tapes anymore, son. That shit is banned.
You need to know a guy that knows a guy that made their own copy.
That knows a guy, yeah. It was like getting to get the Pam Anderson sex tape in 1995. You couldn't just buy it.
Oh, that's so great.
No, the Cosby Show has been like deleted from the cultural record.
Yeah.
Effectively. And again, I'm not, for better and worse.
It's funny because I know somewhere in a box in my home, I still have VHS tapes where I was recording, shit I wanted to watch.
Sure.
And I bet there's some with like old episodes of Beverly Hills 90210 and 21 Jump Street and crap like that. Like, I don't need to. That's all exists. I don't need that. Even if it does exist, I don't need to go back to that.
But sometimes it goes away.
But sometimes it goes away, and that my VHS tape with an episode of Booker might be worth something to someone.
It might be. If it's worth something to you, it's worth something.
Thank you. Aidan, do you have any questions for Bryan at all? As a young comedian, to somebody who's been in it a little
I don't know. You gave some good advice in the beginning, and I've been soaking it all in.
That's good.
Yesterday and today. So
Right on. What is? Do you have anything booked now? You just won a contest? What do you have next? Nothing?
not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot.
Yeah.
Honestly, it has happened before that people have won the contest and then used it as a springboard to get a bunch of bookings they weren't really ready for. And that's one of those things where it's like it's sometimes just the right thing at the wrong time can be a bit of a stumbling block, because it doesn't mean the person isn't capable of it. But sometimes people are like, hey, you won the contest, do 30, kid, and you're like, ah, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So like I would say, don't rush to get paid. Just do a lot of sets.
Yeah.
Because you've been doing it for 6 months. Most people don't get paid till at least a year and a half in.
I just thought of something.
Even a little bit.
I want to ask both of you guys before, and maybe we've talked about this before, Brian, but before hitting a stage and telling jokes in front of people you don't know, in front of strangers, what was your experience in a crowd with a mic, an audience?
You ever do like high school theater or anything like that?
Oh no,
nothing.
Nope.
You seem like a fairly introverted dude.
Yeah, I am for the most part. I liked giving school presentations, because I would add underhanded things in there that the teacher, a lot of the times they wouldn't want me to do the talking. They would want somebody else, because they knew that if I took the presentation that they wouldn't like what came out.
Yeah, I've been there before.
Very cool.
I did like theater and stuff because I wanted to do stand-up, but there was not like an opportunity for it. So like you would sort of ad-lib here and there within the play, which they really don't like you to do in high school, but I did it anyway. But yeah, I did like speech team and stuff where you were like, I was like half doing comedy. Mm-hmm. You could do a funny speech, but like I remember writing the first one and it was like stand-up, and they were like, no.
Yeah.
That's not what we're looking for here.
Mm-hmm. You got everything ahead of you, man.
Yeah, I'm excited.
It's got to be an exciting
Unless you get hit
time.
by a bus tomorrow, in which case it's been a good run.
Yeah.
I would, count your blessings. It could be taken away at any moment.
No, it is nice at that part. I was kind of it was kind of nostalgic for that part of a comedy when you just start and you're like, well, no one expects anything out of me.
Yeah.
I'm just writing these jokes and we'll see what happens. Like, yeah, every possibility is a possibility.
Yeah. I do have one. I think I got one more question for you here, Aidan. If was there ever a time, like when you last year when you were going to college and failing?
Yeah.
Did you have an idea of what you wanted to do that wasn't comedy?
What did you fail at specifically?
I went and I told my dad that I wanted to go into writing. He said there's no money there on a 2-year degree. So I went into business and absolutely hated it. And just stopped showing up to classes, but never went back in to cancel it at all. So it just kept going. And it was like, all right, well, whatever.
That should be a sign you shouldn't be in business, first off.
Yeah.
But also, I love the idea that's like, there's no money in writing and a 2-year degree, but people love guys with a 2-year business degree from a junior college that's shooting to the top of Wall Street, kid. Like, I don't know that works that way either.
You'll be buying Google at any day.
Yeah. But you can make some money in writing.
Yeah, from the sounds of it.
Yeah.
What?
Some. That's a key phrase. Not a lot.
Brian, speaking of writing, I read your review of a movie that looks really good.
Sorry to bother you. Best movie of the year?
Is it?
Yeah, the best movie of the year.
Really? I didn't know
Highly
anything
recommend it.
about it until I read your thing, and then I watched the preview and the trailer.
Amazing.
It looks
Everybody
really
should
good.
go see Sorry to Bother You. It's the best movie of the year. I don't think anything will beat it. Boots Riley, first movie. He's from the hip hop group The Coup. Yeah, it's incredible. I just saw the new Spike Lee movie, Black Klansman, also very good. Very different movies, but I was just like, man, like Boots is kind of like has the feeling of old Spike, where Spike is like this esteemed like filmmaker who's like got these like serious chops, and Boots still feels raw, but like when Spike to do the right thing, and you're just like, ooh, this guy's like right on that edge, It's really impressive stuff.
Okay.
It's really funny. Lakeith Stanfield is a star.
Yeah.
From Atlanta. He's great.
Yep.
Yeah. Highly recommend it.
Very good.
See Black Klansman too. It's also good, but Sorry to Bother You, I liked even better than Infinity War, which is a weird comparison.
Yeah.
They're very different movies.
You're the only one making that comparison.
Yeah. Hereditary is also great. See Hereditary. One of the scariest movies.
It's a scary one, right?
Very scary.
Okay.
Find out nothing about it. See it. Turn the lights off. Be scared.
Okay.
But see Sorry to Bother You above all. It's crazy. You've never seen a movie like it.
Awesome. I'll take that advice.
But also read my reviews at City Pages.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
That's what I was hoping is you would promote that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Social media. Where are you guys? I know Brian. I mean, I follow you everywhere.
At Real Brian Miller.
Yep. And you're really funny on Twitter. Your tweet about Batman, I think, is up to like 88,000 likes or something like
It's
that.
actually gone down by a bunch. I only have one tweet that's ever gone like that viral, and I think at this peak it was like 91,000 likes and. It was like 91,000 likes and 48,000 retweets or something like that. And then over the course of like 6 months, it's gone down by about 2,000.
It goes back, though.
Yeah, it goes up and down. But like,
Yeah.
I think when you have a tweet even a tweet that goes medium big, you get some bots and some weird things that are like auto liking things. And so when it goes viral enough and enough people hit it, all those bots jump onto it, and then all the bots peel off. But I would never would have thought of that in a million years. I thought like once you got a like, you got
That's
it.
it.
Like, you ain't going nowhere.
This is
but
news to me.
it's gone down by probably 1,500 likes or so.
Weird.
Out of 91,000 or whatever.
Yeah.
But, it's weird to see that thing. It just always pops up in my timeline here and there.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
It is a great tweet.
Well, thank
Super
you.
funny. So you mainly focus on Twitter, you would say, as far as social media?
Yeah, I'm not a very great social media person. I try to put some new jokes up on YouTube every now and then, and I post them on Facebook. And but yeah, I'm not a great social promoter. I don't know. I wouldn't have any social media if it wasn't for comedy.
Sure. I kind of feel that way too. I'm not a comedian, but I have a comedy podcast to promote, and if it wasn't for that, I'm not sure I would be anymore either.
Honestly, if I didn't do comedy, people would probably never see me. I would basically live in a cabin somewhere.
How about you, Aidan? Social media? As a 19-year-old, let me see. You probably have like 6 Snapchat accounts.
I'm the exact same way. Like, I was about to delete my Facebook, and then I got into comedy, and all of the comedians are like, "Are you on Facebook?"
Okay.
I use it as an email, just because so many people it's just an easy way to contact you, you know.
Yeah.
And so I keep my profile up for that. I promote my open mic and stuff and there's like shows here, but it's really I get bookings out of it a lot of times because people
really?
they're just like, "Oh, I saw you on this thing," or you did a corporate and I kind of remember your name, so then I found you on Facebook. You want to do this other thing for $500 or whatever? It's like it's invaluable just to have that open line. I just don't spend any time on it.
No,
but you can just not spend time on it. You know, and that's like totally your choice.
I've got a Facebook and an Instagram, but I don't use Twitter. I've got one, but it's
Oh, you do?
not
Instagram is
posted.
better Twitter, I think.
Oh, yeah,
I just
it is.
don't. I don't know. My phone was broke when I was getting social media, and so it was all photo based, and I just never got on it. And now I have a camera, but I just don't care.
Yeah.
So tonight, Bryan, you got one more show headlining here.
Yep.
And then no more contest. Contest is done.
Test is over, which I'm sure the staff is delighted about. I remember because when you MC here, you work like once every 6 weeks, and so you'd work maybe 3-4 weeks of the contest. The first week, you're like, yeah, this is so fun. All these new people are in here, and there's great energy, and it's so awesome. And by the third week, you're like, oh my God, there's all these new people in here.
Yeah.
The shows are going longer. It's
Yeah.
it's a lot more like, I'm sure, especially for the staff, it's just a lot more like kind of clerical work, more people to wrangle.
Oh, for sure.
You know.
There's also the thing of, I know you've seen it. Their friend performs, then they leave.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I always think is weird because you're like, well, this is a good professional show, you know?
Yeah.
It's not like it's an open mic where I see why people leave the open mic when their friends die.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, you get like free tickets to see big time comics, You're like, you just got to see Ryan Hamilton for free. You should take that advantage.
Who's here next week?
I know. One of my absolute favorite comics of all time.
Me too.
And one of my favorite people.
He's so great.
Yeah.
His special on Netflix is one of the best I've ever watched.
Fantastic. He and Gary Goldman's specials are just the two of the best right now.
Ryan Hamilton's joke, and I'm going to bring this up to him next week, and maybe I have in the past, but when he does a joke about losing his breath, I lose my breath. It's so fucking funny.
He's so great.
So funny.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. So what are you? What's next for you, Bryan?
Doing a corporate in Grand Rapids, Minnesota next week. And then I'm doing, I don't know what I have on the books. I have some stuff kind of scattered here and there. I don't have any dates back here quite yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm picking up, doing a lot of corporates in the last part of the year. Happy to be booked.
You picking up on that, Aidan?
Bookings?
Corporates.
Yeah.
You're young enough. You can do colleges. I realize I've hit the point where if I do a college gig, I can still do it, but it's kind of hard to relate. I'm kind of old. But if I do oh yeah, are you kidding me? I've been married for 11 years. I haven't dated. I've never dated with a social media profile. I'm 37. I'm pretty far away from a 20-year-old's experience.
Yeah. Is he an old man? Do you consider him an old man?
How old are you again?
37.
No, not that old.
I feel old. But when I do a corporate, I'm the whippersnapper.
Oh,
I'm really young for a corporate comic, so I kind of like to steer into that. personally. I don't know. Maybe it's just pure laziness, but you kind of, you seem a little fresher.
Yeah. I saw, I want to bring this up. I saw one of the articles that was written about you today, Aidan. It said that you were doing some of the same jokes you did here last night. You've done like at coffee shops where people have left kind of offended, correct?
Yeah, it was a thing where it was almost too socially adept to. So they weren't listening, but they caught up on like the worst parts that you can come into the jokes at. And then she got on stage after I got out. I went outside and was hanging out with this other dude, and she went up and just talked about how it's not cool to make fun of people on stage for 3 minutes, and just went on and ragged on me, ironically. So it's very hypocritical.
I hate when people do that too. They hear like the buzzword. If you're like, you know what's really terrible is racism. Like I heard him say he's talking about racism.
Yeah.
And you're like, he said it's terrible.
Yeah.
What topic was? I mean, I saw your set. I can't even think.
It was she caught the tail end. Where
the homeless guy thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just sounds like people are adopting homeless people.
Yeah. No, okay. I guess that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I got not invited back to a gig that I was doing on the reg because someone said that I was racist because I used the word poquito on stage, and she thought I was making fun of Mexican people.
Oh,
arguably, the people who find racism in things are the most racist people.
Absolutely. And by the way, it was a white lady.
Oh, okay.
Definitely
So
was
you
very
could've
much
guessed
not a
that.
Mexican
Yeah.
person. Yeah, but literally, I used a Spanish word. I just like I've always liked poquito. I use a lot of foreign words in my act. I like words.
I like the word poquito.
Yeah, that's a good amount to like it. It just seemed funnier to me than saying little in that moment. I don't know.
Yeah.
It wasn't about anything. But yeah, white lady. Her Twitter background was a West Wing cast photo.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh.
She's a warrior for the people.
Watch out for that, Aidan. I think they did it. I think we covered it, huh?
All right.
Anything else you guys want to mention?
No, Red Menace every Tuesday night. If you're not coming to Acme on Tuesday and you don't have quite enough money to, I think you can usually get in here pretty well on Tuesday. They got some college deals, but if you can't, go to Red Menace. Actually, Red Menace starts after Acme, so you really can go see the whole act here, and then you can go see the up and comers. Down the street.
What time does that start for
About
you?
9.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 8:45, 9 depends on how on the stick I am.
Right on.
Yeah.
And you have a spot for Aidan if he shows up.
Oh yeah, we put everybody up, but you should definitely come
for
down.
sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, no, we put everybody up. That's the Red Menace promise. It's communist open mic. We have to.
I thank you guys. I was really excited about to do this show. We put it together, last night because Bryan, obviously, you're one of the best podcast guests.
And I'm also very accessible.
And you're also very accessible.
I live really close. I'm easy to get here.
No, I really
do Bob's show every Wednesday, so I'm always like, come over after Bob's.
Yeah, no, so I really appreciate it.
Happy to be
you
here.
doing this. And Aidan, like I said, man, we've
thanks
never
for
done this
having me.
before with the winner, so I hope this was good for you. Learn a couple things and get your name out there, right?
Absolutely. That was pretty cool.
I mean, I think next year now they should put this into the whole prize package where they list an appearance on, and then make this the grand prize, and then you get $1,000. Yeah. Thank you guys.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Thanks, buddy. See you next time.
Boom.